Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Hollow and today we're talking Pokemon. That is of course because the new game Pokemon Legends Arceus is releasing in just a few days on Friday. As a new Pokemon title in more than just the literal name, they're really changing a lot of the core gameplay designs this time. Finally, after many Pokemon titles that just stuck to the same tried and tested systems, we're going to be seeing all these major changes and new concepts that should be really relevant to the battle system, the wild, boss battles and more. Going into the game, then it'll be good to know what's coming to make it easier as you take it all in and adapt to the new way things work. But before we get into that, I have a quick word from today's sponsor, Opera GX, an internet browser that has a focus on gaming thanks to a lot of really convenient features, or like how you can control how much CPU or RAM is being used by the browser. We were pretty happy to work with them after we took a look ourselves, since this is genuinely a very functional and personalized browser. If we take a look at some of the things you can do with the browser, there's the features that I mentioned using the GX control, which has both a RAM and CPU limiter to turn on whenever you want and set your desired limits for those. This can prevent any lag when you're running a game or playing music, and I can see this especially useful on, say, a laptop when you're running a few things at once. One of the most popular browsers people use has a very high CPU usage, especially if you like to keep a lot of tabs open at once, like some of my friends who have no self-control. We can also make use of the network limiter, which just limits how much bandwidth Opera GX can use if you want to leave something running without it being invasive on your connection. So those are some handy features to use, but what's pretty standout about the browser is just the theme, the design, and how customizable it is. The base design is pretty slick, but you also have a taskbar on the left for all of your main features and apps you've got connected to run inside the browser. And then we can go into customize properly from the easy setup at the top right or in the settings, which gives us a lot of the default options with various color designs. Light mode is there if you want to harm your eyes, and you can use your own custom wallpapers like my cool Sekiro art here, for example. And then there's extra details like news, weather, font size, and so on to manipulate. We also have the GX corner, which gives us a very nice way to check out new releases, deals, or gaming news in general, as a very easy way to check that out in the day. They also have a few browser games to try if you want that are just there and free to download and try. Plus, to switch over to the browser, it's very easy to import all of your bookmarks, browsing history, cookies using the import tool, and it'll do it in just a moment. Lastly, it's also on your mobile if you want to use Opera GX for your phone. That can be connected to your desktop version too, and just like the desktop browser, it has all of the useful features you can expect from Opera GX. Overall, I've definitely been impressed with how well laid out this is and pretty polished. Everything you need is just there and very easy to tweak as well. It's free to download, so just give it a try. I honestly think there's a good chance you're going to like it. So make sure to use our link in the description or the pinned comment down below so they know we sent you. Big thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring the video, and a thank you to you guys for supporting the channel. But now back to the video. Here's 10 interesting and useful things to know before you play Pokemon Legends Arceus. From the dawn of Pokemon, or rather Red and Blue, the battle system has remained the same. Now, finally in Arceus, it's changing. First and importantly, the new importance of speed. Speed is this aspect of the battle system. When battle starts, both sides choose their move or action, and then your speed stat would decide who goes first. That can have pretty big impacts on how the battle then plays out. In this new system, the speed stat is going to be more important due to the new ways you can manipulate it and also the benefits of doing so. Now, if your speed stat is high enough compared to the enemy, your Pokemon can do more than just attack first, but even multiple times. With that, there's the new styles which let you control the speed of your next turn, adding this whole new layer to the combat system to think about. I'd say this is going to be really important then for the value of speed, opening the door for speed-based parties, or at least setups that you consider. But let's talk about those attack styles. Styles are the new way Pokemon can further change their attacks, modifying them depending on the style you choose. Styles will come in two versions we know of, either strong style or agile style. Strong style increases the damage of that attack, but at the cost of longer recovery time, while agile style is the opposite. You'll deal less damage that turn, but then raise your speed the next turn. So if we combine that with, say, a great speed Pokemon, we could see multiple attacks in one turn multiple times, and that sounds really strong to me. Generally though, I think this is a really nice but simple change to the combat that should add some extra consideration each turn and could lead, hopefully, to a skilled player reaping the rewards. Let's move on to the new way wild Pokemon work then. Wild areas are back right, which are these large areas filled with Pokemon Pokemon that you can actually see, and instead of only ambushing you when you're in a combat area, they'll spot you and run at you. It was Sword and Shield that introduced the wild in this way, where we see the Pokemon out and about. What's interesting in Arceus then, is how they've seen our reaction to that concept and how positive it was, and upped the danger of it, making it more relevant to the gameplay, more engaging. Compared to Sword and Shield, where the Pokemon just kind of steadily run towards you, in Arceus, the Pokemon are like after you. They're trying to kill you. And in a more realistic way, based on, you know, it's a Pokemon and it does have these crazy strengths. Ranged whirlwinds, screams that stun you, Beyblades spinning at you super quick, summoning literal lightning from the sky on your location. You know, just think about it. All the insane stuff Pokemon could do. It's almost like opening up the gates of hell when we consider how dangerous some Pokemon could actually be if they turned on us. And so, now in the wild, you'll have your own trainer's health to think about as well. You'll need to evade and survive these attacks before the real battle, and if you take too much damage during that, you can be knocked out like a Pokemon. But let's go to my next point, which is this is not actually an open world game, which seems to be a common misunderstanding. This is not Pokemon Breath of the Wild. This is huge areas that are expansive and detailed. A large area that you can roam around in a specific biome with different objectives to complete there, and of course specific Pokemon inside of those that you can avoid or challenge. This means you can't just wander around the entire region without any breaks between, with full freedom to progress as fast or as slow as you want. They still are controlling the areas of the region itself, limiting you into sections based on the story and what you've accomplished so far. We are not quite at true open world Pokemon yet, but we are getting closer. We've seen examples of them swing through huge water areas, flying over the massive hills and the mountains. These areas do look big, but it's not actual open world. You know, these are like big levels. Now, one very exciting detail of Arceus for me is the new boss fights, the literal boss fights in Pokemon. The Frenzied Nobles are going to provide an entirely new challenge for Pokemon in a few ways. Almost like taking full use of the new wild system, they're pitting you against a Pokemon in more direct battle. It will come for you and use its abilities on you, and you have to evade and stay alive throughout that, all while dealing your own damage to its boss-like health bar using the throne bombs that calm it. Through that, at different intervals in the health bar, you'll be able to have these quick Pokemon battles to progress the fight. So I think that's really cool as a progression of the game series, using the 3D environment and pushing you away from the classic turn-based combat only. It does look pretty simple to me from what I've seen, but it should still provide a new style of challenge to overcome, and hopefully it gets more mechanically interesting as we progress. Now, one major thing to be aware of then going into Arceus is how it's meant to be a much harder game than the previous Pokemon games. It's commonly thought that since X and Y, Pokemon became more of a forgiving and easier thing to play. I'm sure we all have our own opinions on whether that makes for a better game or not, but it seems the devs want difficulty back in Pokemon. Personally, I'm all for that. Obviously, with the new battle system and the new details of that, there's going to be new strategy to manage we've never had before, more to pay attention to, more ways to hopefully make mistakes. And they claim that the new battle system will require, more thought in each action, and I do hope that's true. If we consider the more dangerous wild Pokemon you've got to navigate through, the bosses, there is more to think about. But moving on, I want to talk about the new way the Pokedex is going to work in Arceus. As you may know, Arceus takes place in the Sinnoh region, but long ago, when it was called the Hisui region. Our main goal for the story then is to form the original Pokedex for this region, and that requires much more detail and effort than, hey, just one capture. You'll need to actually fully investigate and learn about the Pokemon in detail, observing it in the wild like a Pokemon Snap game, not just in one place or region, but multiple, to learn its behaviors and habitats. You'll have to catch more than one, defeat multiple, witness its various attacks, register them, even evolve them and more. And I think this is really cool because it makes the Pokemon feel more real. Since we're setting up the very first Pokedex of this region, of course we need to learn more about the Pokemon and get them more detail. I think a lot of people are going to be really into this. Now, let's talk about another system that's new for Pokemon. Arceus is introducing something we've seen in a lot of games recently, even the new Souls game that's coming up. I'm talking, of course, about crafting. The simple act of using materials you gather in the world to craft useful items while you're out there. Things like Pokeballs to replenish those stocks, potions to heal yourself or your team, or unique items like the smoke bombs that will help you avoid wild Pokemon. The full list of crafted items should be interesting. You know, what other mechanics are they going to introduce using the system? I do wonder. But what we do know is that you can't just craft anywhere. You'll need a craftworks, which can be found in town or at the camps you've set up. I do wonder how those camps are going to work. Are we going to be able to set them up wherever, or more likely, I think, at specific spots? Like Monster Hunter, you need to discover the predetermined suitable place for a camp, and then after finding that, maybe you do like a mission and set it up to use from then on. Crafting in any case, though, should give us a new way to manage our supplies, giving us a new and interesting way to gather items and use for the first time. Alright, here's an obvious but important one. Pokemon. The new roster of the game is pretty big, but largely features familiar returning Pokemon. One cool detail about this though is with the whole Hisui region aspect, we have these new regional Pokemon. Pokemon like the Hisui Growlithe, the very funky looking Bravery, or the Hisuian Voltorb, or the Zorua, or the Zoroark. There's the new evolutions too, like Cleavor, Basculegion, the often seen in trailers Wydeer, as just a few examples so far. The theme they've gone for these new regionals, the evolutions, I think it's really nice. I think they fit in the world and theme very well. But we know this is of course not all the new Pokemon we're going to see in the game once we do get playing. Lastly though, for my 10th thing, just a note on the release of Arceus itself. We are finally breaking the mold of Pokemon releases, which, you know, force the game into these awkward 2 versions with minor differences. They're minor, but they're enough to have people still buy both. They say you're not meant to buy both, but rather one version and then have a friend or family member buy the other, so you can access the few Pokemon not in your version. I always found this a weak reason to release your game in multiple ways. It felt to me like it was a way to catch whales, the people who were desperate to have a complete collection and need to buy both. I prefer the idea of just one version with everything in it, so I don't have to worry about, you know, what version someone else is buying. I believe this is the first time in the 25 years of joint releases that we'll actually have a single complete and not split up version. Now I can see how this change would upset certain people who just like that separation, but for me, I'm happy with it. But there you have it, 10 things to know going into Arceus that are pretty important. There's going to be a lot of other details revealed as we do play the game and learn what's actually in it, whether that's new mechanics or other major updates for the series. But I'm very happy with the new direction we're seeing in this game. I've been waiting for what feels like forever to see some real changes to the Pokemon formula, and this seems to be that. Hopefully, it's good. What do you think though? Let me know in the comments. Until next time though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.